My name is Debeila. I'm the President and CEO of the SMME Chamber of Commerce, and my role is obviously to facilitate access to market finance and support for SMEs in South Africa, primarily into global markets. So what we are, we play a role of an ecosystem enabler. So we don't necessarily have our own programs at the moment. We support government programs and even private sector programs, primarily supporting entrepreneurs that they are supporting to enter into international market. Our focus has always been to say, you can start local, but again, how do you take your business global? And we are that particular vehicle. It's the same way whether you're solving a solution for South African township, the challenges that you're facing in the South African township, I can assure you that people in Latin America are having similar challenges. So maybe if your solution is not necessarily maybe working this side, there's global markets that we need to be able to explore to be able to find opportunities. So I always want us to be global citizens because the opportunities globally are immense. When you grow up in a family business, the biggest challenge is that, you become unemployable in a sense that, entrepreneurship becomes, engraved in your veins. So I've been involved, my first, in the family business at the age of 14. But I think what inspired me to start the SMME Chamber is that in 2024, the family business closed abruptly. And this is where, our passion to build proper, sustainable, financially viable, profitable businesses comes in, because often is that businesses are only first generation. Once the founder passes away or the business closes abruptly, it's gone. So we're not building businesses for exit. So what we need to be starting really to hone in on is to say, what is the exit plan of your business? How, from the capital that you put into your business, from the sweat, the tears, the equity that comes in, how do you have an exit that you make a profit? So we often don't build businesses for exit. And so we tend to build businesses around maybe for sustainability, for survival. So what we're trying to move our SME is to say, start small, but build a big business. Every big business started small. So every single business started where you are. We always talk about the US tech giants, where they always talk about starting from a garage. But today they're listed globally. That's the kind of mentality we need from African entrepreneurs to say, yes, I'm starting from my room, I'm starting from the back room, I'm starting from, my cousin's place. I don't even have my own place to be able to start this particular business. Wherever you are, wherever you're starting, start, but don't stay small. We may be the SMME Chamber of Commerce representing small, medium, micro enterprises, but the aim is to say, this is where you are, but that's not where you should necessarily end up. We want you to come in and build global businesses. Because the other thing is that, from an African context point of view, a small business in Africa and a small business in Europe, from a scale point of view, is two different things, different matrices. So, we went, a small business, for example, in Europe, a medium enterprise business in Europe can be making a turnover of 100 million euros. That's a corporate in South Africa's standpoint. So I always say to entrepreneurs to say, look at your business, look at your turnover, convert it into dollars. That amount will tell you where you are. Because sometimes I'm not a micro enterprise, I'm a small business. Your turnover determines what size of business you are. But don't be ashamed about where you are. You know what I'm saying? Go into the numbers of your business, deal with the realities to say, this is the state and the actual value of my business. How do I keep move from micro to small to medium to eventually, exiting and growing, a full business? But there's also nothing wrong in terms of building a family business. So for example, countries such as Germany, they've got 50,000 family-owned businesses or businesses that are over 100 years old. Japan is the country with the most amount of businesses over 100 years. They go over 100,000 companies that are over 100 years old. That's when you start building a business for sustainability. That's what we're talking about. That's the kind of mindset and the thinking that when you build your business, build that in place. And some of these are family-owned businesses, so there's nothing wrong in terms of building a family-owned business, right? And it's actually encouraged. Part of our partners in the UAE is the Dubai Chambers. They've got the Dubai Center for Family Business, which again, they are supporting their Emirati entrepreneurs be able to build sustainable family-owned businesses like what Germany and Japan has been able to achieve. And we hope that within, the MOU that we signed with various chambers around the world, we can also bring that expertise into South Africa and that kind of culture and that entrepreneurship culture to build businesses for the long term, generationally. You know what I'm saying? Let's start thinking 100 years from now, 200 years. So about 6 weeks ago, we were in Durban. We participated in the African Union Commission workshop retreat on creating a strategy for SMEs across the African continent. So we're quite involved in that particular process, working with the AU Commission. We've been invited into various task teams to be able to, provide our insights, our views, and be the voice of business. And in those type of, sessions, we sent through our chairperson was representing us physically at the engagement at the workshop, Bukle Sibanyoni, young woman, 35 years old. So again, you have a woman representation happening, you have a woman's voice at the table, you have a youth voice at the table. And that's, part of the main thing is to say, taking those, voices that are not necessarily always heard into the main table where discussions are happening that shape Africa, that shape, the world. So, I'm a young person myself. I'm out of the youth category. I'm 36 at the moment. So I've left in South African, terms. But I've always been, when I started out being in organized business, I started in 2010. So I've always been the youngest person in the room until 2-3 years later, when we started bringing other young people, then it became more comfortable that other young people are starting to claim spaces and occupy spaces at the main table, because we always get relegated to the youth, BRICS Youth Council, African Union Youth, but are we at the main table where decisions are being made? And that's one of the things that we do as an ecosystem enabler, sitting at those main decision-making tables, bringing young people to be in those forums, so that we know that their voice can absolutely be heard. So we are doing quite a lot of work, in the background. We're not loud. I think this is actually our first, year where we're going out in terms of the media since our inception in 2018 about work that we do, because we allow our work to speak for ourselves. One of the things that we talk about African Union. One of the things that we've been doing for the past 5 years within the SME Chamber is building a relationship with the UAE Embassy and the UAE, United Arab Emirates. That has been started in 2019. It's only today, here at this particular conference of SATEX, that we signed MOU for the next 5 years with the UAE Chambers, and for us to facilitate those type of things. So our relationships, are deep. It takes a long time to build those type of relationships. And I say this to make the point to say, don't also rush things in terms of your business. Great things takes time. You know what I'm saying? Big things takes time. So take time in building the right foundations in your business, so that when it's time for you to go out and showcase who you are, you have taken 5 years building strong relationships, building strong systems, so that you don't also fail in public, which can be quite embarrassing and kill your confidence. You know what I'm saying? In terms of building through, because again, a lot of my failures, I'm going to write a book about it one day. I was able to fail, privately, because of how one was not always out in the media about the work that we do, the relationships that we have, the partnerships that we have, and we're able to focus on delivering to SMMEs. And lastly, to the point of African, unity and African trade, we facilitated the South Africa Cote d'Ivoire Business Forum last year, because we realized there's an important need to link up and bring closer Anglophone Africa and Francophone Africa. So we were generously hosted by the GGDA, Gauteng Growth and Development Agency, to host that 2-day forum. And from that, we were able to again take South African companies, introduce them to some projects that are happening in Cote d'Ivoire, where South African companies can look at investing and building up capacity into Cote d'Ivoire, because one thing that we want to avoid as the SME Chamber is South Africa being a dominant, big brother at the rest of the continent, because we are Africa's biggest economy, Africa's most industrialized economy. So we don't want to just be about taking South African products and just being dumped into the rest of Africa, but where we can be able to bring in investment, be they coming from South Africa, be they be coming from the UAE or other international partners that we have into the rest of Africa. That's the work that we're doing. And we're doing it, in most cases, silently, not necessarily beating our chest about, hey, look at me, this is what I'm doing now. I think, like I mentioned, we're more of an enabler, because what we have identified is that corporate South Africa have got programs, government have got programs, but obviously there is cracks in between. So what we come in, we become that filler, we become that bridge between programs that are actually being, offered out there, and be able to smooth out the challenges. Big initiatives that we're working on now would be just an exclusive to yourself. We're working on fintech solutions for the township market. So I think once we've gone through, we're discussing, channel banking agreements. So that's the work that's happening now with one of the big 6 banks in the country here in South Africa. So why you can have digital payments happening at a local level, at a small business level, be able to have digital payment devices, be able to track the inventory in terms of how much stock that they have, so that we can now be able to say, okay, fine, this is how much turnover you're generating in your business. This is, what your stock, this is what you need, this is how much you're buying. Can you group you to be able to buy better? So it's more practical things vis-a-vis always the training seminars. Those are great. We get invitations, we send out invitations, we encourage our members and our stakeholders to participate in those type of forums, but we're more on, granular, real things that impact the bottom line of the business. What you need a payment system. What you need stock if you're, in selling. What you need access to market to be able to, sell those. That's the real hardcore, things that we work on, vis-a-vis a program where, you come in for 2 days, you're learning something, and then you're out the door. That is not, there are other organizations that is doing that are doing great work. We don't want to duplicate that. We want to be different, as an organization. So the first one is that with local municipalities, we've been getting requests now for assistance by local governments to assist them to set up their chambers or get their chambers formalized. Hence, that I mentioned the relationship work with government. So we're doing that in terms of supporting municipalities, get their chambers and forums working, accordingly, corporate governance, all that in place, programs. So we're doing that at a local government level. We are waiting with bated breath in terms of the outcome of the, election, what kind of government comes in at the various provinces, so we can take the work that we've been doing at local government to again provincial structures, and and also at national government level. Throughout the African continent, like I didn't mention, Cote d'Ivoire is a very key market that we want to go in and see how we're able to support with their ambition. With Senegal, we're working with the World Logistics Passport to create trade routes between Senegal, South Africa, and the UAE through that partnership. So it's been quite sporadic in a way in terms of our interventions, but it's going to be deep where the impact can be felt by those communities where we are involved. We hope to be able to have capacity to get involved within more African countries, but obviously through our relationship with the AU Commission, we're able to impact the entire African continent. And our focus now will be obviously on South Africa and SADC and COMESA at the moment. Start small if you have to. Everything that was once big started small. Let a seed be your inspiration. A whole tree is locked in the size of a seed. So the same way that your dreams and desires may seem small, let them plant them into your business, cultivate them, water them, and grow it like you would take care of a tree, and it will be able to grow and blossom, into something massive. So what I'm saying is that within yourself, within your own person, you're like a seed, right? All that potential is within you. It's all up to you to say what you allow it to grow into.